Hello, everybody. Oh, hello. My name is Mike McMillan. I'm the logistics director for the sports conference. Today, I'm very, very excited to introduce Artificial Intelligence 3.0. Are we closer to creating the mind of Tom Brady? This will be presented by Usman Shuja, who is the VP of Market Development at a leading artificial intelligence company. In addition, he used to play cricket for the US national team for 10 years. So if everyone is ready, please put your hands together for Usman.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you. So let's talk AI. So this is the third wave of enthusiasm around artificial intelligence, and hence I call it AI 3.0. And in order to truly understand the potential and the promise of AI 3.0, I'd like to take you back to 1979. There's excitement about the potential of artificial intelligence then amongst technologists, investors, and the media alike. Roger Schank, who's a prominent psychologist and an AI researcher of the time, was being interviewed by PBS, and the interviewer asked him, "How close do you think AI could get to human cognition?" citing humor as a very uniquely human capability. And Roger stopped him right there and said, "Give me the rules of humor, and I will build a system that's funny." Although an insignificant history in the incident in the history of AI, it highlights two reasons that undermine the success of AI in previous eras. One, overwhelming enthusiasm of the researchers of the time. They thought that every aspect of human cognition could be and would be automated. And that included reasoning, communicating, and remembering. Second, the need to understand the rules or the grammar of a problem. The AI systems of the previous eras were hard to build. They required understanding and finding a subject matter expert and teasing out the information out of their heads, what made them an expert, and then encoding them in if-then-else rules. So what has happened since then that makes the promise of AI 3.0 true? Or is it just like a start of another Dallas Cowboys season that starts in optimism in August and ends in disappointment? But I would like to highlight a few things, and that's a legitimate concern. Earlier researchers of AI were psychologists at heart. They believed every aspect of human cognition, the way we communicate, the way we play chess, the way we solve problems, were a manifestation of one or a handful of algorithms. And success at one would lead to success at others. The problem with historical accounts is that they show the path taken, but often omit the paths not taken. In the history of AI, you might not have known that from the offset, there was a competing vision called intelligence amplification, IA. And the goal of IA was to augment human intelligence. In contrast to the goal of AI, the goal of AI was to build autonomous systems, independent systems that could replicate some human capabilities. The idea was first proposed by William Ross Ashby, and it was pushed by proposing a symbiotic relationship between human and machine, where humans setting up the high-level goals and the machines doing the routine daily work. The popular belief is that AI 2.0 languished in the 1990s and was reborn in the late 2000s. But I think it hides the fact what actually happened. The term AI was retained, but the research agenda is squarely from IA. The quest to understand human cognition is over, and the goal is to augment human intelligence. Psychologists underestimated automating human strengths. So the engineers took over, focusing on human weaknesses. AI 3.0 is built on the principles of engineering, not so much psychology. From that research agenda comes innovations such as deep learning, where you can feed raw data and it automatically finds representation to identify things or classify things. Neural networks, that's at the heart of machine learning and AI, have escaped the plateau that they were stuck in for 30 years, thanks to the great work done by Professor Hinton up at the University of Toronto. So the new versions of machine learning, they do not require human expertise. They can automatically figure out what makes somebody an expert. They work with large amounts of data. They actually prefer large amount of data. And most importantly, now we can go much deeper in the neural network, resulting in much better accuracy. And these are very major developments, and I'll get back to it in the context of sports. Now, we can combine unstructured data, such as body languages, photos, videos, and combine this with structured data, such as statistics, to build diagnostic and predictive models. And just like human athletes, right, they can perform, AI algorithms can perform well on the field because they're well supported by their support staff. In this case, it's abundance of data and the compute power. And just to put things in perspective, 90% of the world's data was produced in the last 2 years. So we are producing vast amount of data. And sports industry is also responsible for it. Secondly, the compute power, we have continued to make strides. And again, to put things in perspective, Apollo Guidance, a computer that took humans to moon, had less compute power than most of your iPhones. So we have a new coaching philosophy, much better athletes, and good support staff. I think seems like a winning formula to me. And we are already starting to see promise of AI come true in other fields, whether it's autonomous car or it's your Apple Siri's ability to pick up your words in a noisy environment, or pick up different accents and learn with it, continue to learn the accent. All of this could, in part, be attributed to advancements in machine learning. Spark Cognition, the company that I work at, we've been able to extend forewarning for industrial companies by 20x. That is unimaginable. So AI is working. Most recently, and actually as I speak, Google's AlphaGo program is defeating a legendary player in Go, and this is a way more complex game than what chess was. So, yes, AI is working, so how does it impact sports? And the way I think about use cases in sports, I have two broad categories. One that I've controversially named Moneyball on steroids, pun intended. And these are the use cases where the industry is already doing a lot of analysis, and they're yielding great results. But the cognitive burden of making sense of those analytics still relies on the human being. So with the new techniques and new data acquisition capabilities today, we are seeing a lot of great technology. I'm wowed. All of this can be used along with AI, reasoning, and machine learning, and other capabilities to take away some of the cognitive burden from the human being so they can focus on higher order problems. Scouting for suitable players, this has been around for a while. How can we identify the next J.J. Watts and put different scenarios, find new features or new capabilities that were not existent before? Performance and optimization, this is the one I'll dig deeper into. And the next category are the analysis that today we are starting to experiment with or do not exist. And those are the ones that AI can enable, and I call them blazing new trails. Imagine IBM Watson helping New England Patriots pick their next quarterback in 2 years. It can ingest real-time videos, combine data, statistics, psychological information, tons of other things in real time to make sure that the Tom Brady replacement is not a 199th pick. Again, a great example of humans and machines working together. Team strategy and recruiting philosophy. This is another area. Formula One would use this for their pit strategy. Again, in soccer. Carnegie Mellon's robotic soccer team, so they're little robots that play soccer, they encoded selflessness in their robots. So no matter what, they will do the best for the team. And they beat the opponents 48-0. 48-0. That's remarkable. And there could be only two reasons for that. Either the encoding worked really well, or the other team's robot had too much to drink the night before. Improving situational awareness, and I'll dig deeper into that as well. And being a former management consultant, I have to have a 2x2. So I'll further differentiate into tactical and strategic. And note, I'm not focusing on the business analysis. So there's a whole different set of use cases and analysis in fan management and ticket pricing that we are hearing today, and machine learning can absolutely impact that. But for this presentation, I focused more on the operations of it. I played cricket for the US national team. I've played across the globe, and I've been fascinated by speed. As a child, growing up playing cricket, I always wanted to bowl faster. I remember mimicking the fastest bowlers of the time, even trying to create footsteps from dew on the grass, just like some of my heroes did. Lucky for me, I ended up with the technique, physique, and the ability to bowl fairly fast, but I still wanted to bowl faster and wanted to learn what makes some people bowl faster than others. It's generally believed, and my baseball friends would agree with me, that you're either born with the gene or not. Agreed, but can it be enhanced? Of course. This is exactly what the English Cricket Board, in collaboration with Loughborough University, which is a premier sports science institution, is trying to figure out. What makes some people perform better, and what are the attributes? So how does the setup look like? Most of you are familiar with it. Putting markers on players and new data acquisition techniques, putting plates on the floor to measure ground forces, and putting depth cameras all across. And all of this data is turned into a kinematic forward dynamic modeling simulation. Forward dynamic modeling is a systematic examination of performance parameters on performance. The forward dynamic uses the mathematical modeling technique that that is analogous to how the human body functions for a particular task. So, but there are a couple of challenges, right? One is today we only model skeletons. And the sports motions are complex motor skills, and you need to understand the muscle behavior as well. The second problem is that for the initial set of parameters, you always end up with the same results because there's no realistic noise. Human body has a lot of noise. Even if you ask the expert to do the same thing twice, there will be some variance. The great work done at the university, they've been able to explain 80% of the variance. But in order to get to the next level, you need to incorporate muscles. And this has been a challenge up until now because of poor data acquisition techniques. With the advancements in new data acquisition capabilities, you can acquire data from muscles with realistic noise. There are scores of muscle groups. Each muscle group will have 4 to 5 different data sources. And once you start putting them together, there's so many variables that it's almost impossible for humans to optimize. You tweak one, what happens to the other one? Today, optimization is done through brute force. The models are chunky, and they're targeted at user groups. Machine learning comes to the rescue. When data sets get extremely large, machine learning techniques allow you to process them. With machine learning, what you can build curves that are specific to athletes and optimize the parameters for that specific athlete. And those models can continue to learn as they see more data, so they incorporate and live and breathe with the athlete itself. So as they age, their performance deteriorate, everything will be taken into account. And those parameters can then be turned into real-time advice for the coaches. So for example, you want to run, instead of 20 yards, you need to run 30 yards. You need to strengthen your hamstring to increase your speed by 5 miles per hour without impacting safety and longevity. So this is an old use case, but machine learning brings a new perspective to it. We can get much deeper with this, which can lead to building new custom pathways and training programs for specific athletes. Another interesting use case from the more futuristic side would be improving situational awareness or task-relevant skills. So human beings seek visual input to navigate through complex environment. So whether it's driving a car or making a play in football as a quarterback, you're seeking a lot of visual input. It's generally believed that for a particular task, visual input, if we could get that, we could get into, that provides a window into your thought process. With new techniques, we can even figure out what the experts are thinking, which they might not know. If you ask an expert what makes them an expert, they'll get to 1 or 2 level deep explanation, but they're processing a lot of things subconsciously that they cannot articulate. So a good experiment would be to understand what quarterbacks seek for a particular play, consciously and subconsciously, and how they react to it. So the advancement in retina scan and the body measurements, we can now get to that level of sophistication. An interesting analysis would be to see what information a quarterback is processing from a primary and secondary perspective. We might find that Tom Brady is, compared to other quarterbacks, is not exceptional at processing primary information. That is, when he looks at somebody, that's what he's looking at. But he's exceptional at processing secondary information. So he might not be looking at somebody coming at him, but he's somehow processing it much better than others. We can take that data and let machine learning figure out. And machine learning makes a great use case because we don't even know what we're looking for. And what this can do, it can help you compare quarterbacks. It can help you put them on training programs with virtual reality capabilities. Combining AI with virtual reality can create extraordinary training simulations. These might seem a little sci-fi, but the ingredients of these are already available. And I just wanted to take a moment and thank some of the institutions that I've been working with over the last few months. They've allowed me to take a peek into what's possible. So what does this mean for the sports analysts today? And how can we think about evangelizing and embracing artificial intelligence? So number one, when thinking about data, remove all ifs and buts. Make a wish list and you'll be surprised there are ways to collect data. AI can actually be used to generate data. For example, if you fed video videos for tennis games, AI could actually help you chart what's going on in the game. You don't need a human being anymore. We can do that. Learn to set problems in the new world order. In the world where analytics heavy lifting is going to be done by the machines, your job is to understand what's possible and set up the goals appropriately. Setting the problem in the right way is going to rely with the humans now, and that's something we have to readjust. Set right expectations for your stakeholders and for yourself. AI burdens the responsibility of delivering exceptional results immediately. But let me tell you, having worked in AI in 1999 as well as now, that successes will come in singles and doubles, not necessarily in home runs. Last but not the least, and if there's only one takeaway you want to take from this presentation, this is it. Package insights in a way your clients can understand. And we have to agree that the nerds of sports analytics are still fighting for the respect from the alpha-dominated society in sports. And your clients do not understand or do not wish to understand the math behind the problem. It's not their job. If we do not package it in a way that they can understand and consume and believe it, it's not going to work. And I've been on both ends of it, so totally understand the problem here. And most recently, working with one of the largest utilities in the US, I was working with their vibration analyst with 40 years of experience and an engineering background, and I was so excited about showing my artificial intelligence algorithms and my fancy UI, and they kind of rejected it. I spent weeks with them understanding how they wanted to see and how they could take action out of it. And that's where the magic begins. So let's address the big question up front. Are we closer to creating the minds of our best athletes? I think we have come a long way, and we are much closer to creating the slivers of human intelligence. But for now, there will be some capabilities of human capabilities and intelligence that we won't be able to replicate. The question today is not whether AI can create the mind of Tom Brady. I think the real question today is, how can you and I leverage AI to help Tony Romo? Thank you. Thank you. I'll take some questions if there are.
Do you believe that this neural network connections approach is the answer to what human cognition is?
It's a subset of it. So neural network or deep learning, for example, requires a lot of training data. But human being, as I talked about, right, there are many manifestations of human cognition. And deep learning or neural networks will solve a lot of it, but not all of it. For example, reasoning, situations you have never seen before. Deep learning cannot help you there. So reasoning, that's reasoning comes in. Then vision is another one, how we process that. So it answers a lot of the questions, but not. The other thing is we are taking a very different approach now. So with neural networks, we might say, look, we can solve a problem better than a human being, but it's not the same way of solving the problem. And the thing is, whether a submarine swims or not is a genuine question, right? But it does the job, but does it actually swim? It's debatable, so. Anything else?
Elaborate a little bit more on how you see AI assisting with decoding the psychology of players, like you mentioned?
Yeah. So so there are two aspects of deep learning, for example. One is supervised learning, and one is unsupervised learning. So unsupervised machine learning could allow you to get into things that an expert cannot explain. And the supervised is where you can help understand, explain the system what you're learning. So if you can do a bunch of experiments and have an athlete in a system, so those things have to be developed, you can take the test results and let the machine learning algorithms figure out both supervised and unsupervised, and say, look, what are you thinking? And you might be able to decode the thought process for a particular play. I don't think you can decode, hey, what Tom Brady thinks for every play and how he's, but for a particular play, for a particular situation, I think you can. Also looking at the pressures of the situation against a certain opponents, but there are labs. I will encourage you to look at some of the cutting edge universities I've talked about. They have labs that are, at least in the UT Austin as well, there's a psychology and a computer science lab. It's a joint collaboration. And the goal there is to understand human cognition and then translate that into machine learning, AI systems.
Is part of the problem with neural networks is that it's difficult to explain the mathematics behind it to the customer? In other words, when you're trying to use machine learning for like the insurance industry,
Mm-hmm.
critical for decisions because you can explain that to the CEO and the business analyst, whereas the neural networks rely on very complicated math. So you need the customer to just trust that it works rather than see the decision.
So that's a challenge you'll see when you're evangelizing it. 10 years from now, maybe they start trusting the system. But now it's the person who's building those networks will have to communicate in a way that they can take action. And that's where the role of human beings come in, because neural networks are doing their thing. You don't have to do much about it. But how you communicate is the most important thing. And they don't need to understand the math, and they don't need to understand how you got to this conclusion. The evidence, you have to connect that to the evidence and then communicate in an actionable way. And that's the biggest challenge today. And the good AI evangelists should be able to do that. Yeah.
In rules where the game is always changing, does artificial intelligence provide more of a distinctive advantage? You're playing a game and the rules are continuing to change. Would artificial intelligence conceptually be much faster at starting to work through the solution space?
So what would be, can you give me an example?
Say you change the game of chess or backgammon or tic-tac-toe with more or less pieces. The idea that humans need a lot of time to gain an experiential data set to start to understand how to capitalize on the rules, whereas artificial intelligence can do it.
So eventually it will get, so initially it will suffer because at least machine learning or deep learning, they require examples. And they would suffer initially, but once they see the problem, they would start performing much better than human beings. So initially there will be a drop. That could be addressed in a different way. So again, going back to the Carnegie Mellon example, they have developed an autonomous referee in soccer. So where the rules are changing and things have to be decided dynamically, some of the rules they have never seen before. So reasoning if the rules can be reasoned, then AI would be will have an advantage there. So. Yeah.
Outside of the individual players, how will leagues start to be able to use this? So let's say we follow the rule changes. Rule changes can fundamentally change the way a game is played and how it's experienced. And we've seen it in the NFL with their receiver-heavy league, and it's really led to a lot more passing. So will organizations be able to forecast or understand how these changes might impact the game on a broader scale?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's a great use case. That's a great use case. When the rules change, how is it going to impact my team? Right? So that's actually a great use of artificial intelligence. And at least in cricket, we see the rules keep changing, and it takes a while for the teams to come up with new strategies and their strengths and line up. So that's an excellent use case where you can apply artificial intelligence and see what your team stacks up or what the new strategies could be. So, yeah. Cool. Thank you.